The story begins at the Junior Guardian Spirit Academy, where several spirit monsters fly around the school. A professor reminds them that there is less than a week left before the admissions test for the Pet Tamer Guardian Academies. The professor advises them to use their remaining days to prepare well and strive for a good grade on the test in order to secure their ideal college. After the class is dismissed and the professor has announced the important details, some students exit the classroom. 3 students linger behind to discuss the impending admissions test. One student feels hopeless about gaining admission to any of the 4 senior Pet Tamer Guardian Academies due to their current strength. They are advised to consider gaining admission to any Guardian Spirit Academy instead of aiming for the Senior Guardian Spirit Academy. Another student opines that those who fail to gain admission into an ordinary Guardian Spirit Academy are destined to lead ordinary lives. Amidst these negative outlooks, a confident young lady believes her abilities will ensure her admission into a Senior Guardian Spirit Academy, even though there's only 1 week left before the test. Our protagonist, Yiling, isn't sure how all of this pertains to him. As a traverser who transferred into his current body just a week ago, he finds himself struggling. He has merged with the memories carried by his new body and now knows what kind of world he has traversed into. This world is rampant with monsters and humans can only survive by relying on tall city walls. To combat the monsters, humans have evolved by taming spiritual creatures. This has led to the emergence of a special human profession, the Spirit Guardian. As their name suggests, Spirit Guardians fight against vicious monsters in the wild by harnessing powerful spiritual pets. These guardians not only protect the human city but also open up places outside the city for others. For the youth of this world, their greatest ambition is to become a powerful Spirit Guardian. Every young person in the Federation who has reached the age of 18 can be assigned a monster egg. By signing a contract with this egg, they can obtain their first spiritual pet. However, Yiling believes all of this has nothing to do with him since the original owner of his body had already hatched his first monster egg before he traversed. This creature is an ugly, horrible, tough, and sturdy monster that can only jump and not walk. Although it has impressive defensive capabilities, its attack is trash. To make matters worse, these zombie spiritual pets cannot evolve and are destined to be useless. Feeling disappointed, Yiling recalls how other traversers have cheated or exhibited outstanding strength, while he is stuck with an inept pet. As he ponders alone, one of his classmates, Chenjai, approaches and advises him not to think too much. Even if Yiling fails the test, he can still become an ordinary office worker. After all, not having to go on adventures is a blessing in its own way. Yiling tells Chenjai not to try to comfort him, noting his own fortunate acquisition of a wind wolf with high attributes that can evolve. Yiling's lament about his zombie pet is interrupted when a system window suddenly appears, notifying him that his first spiritual pet has a growth rate of 100%, and meets the activation conditions of the Guardian Spirit system. This surprise makes Yiling excited as he believes he has finally discovered a cheat code. Returning to his senses and seeing that Yiling is losing hope, Chenjai encourages him to work hard. He believes that with dedication, Yiling could be accepted into a low-level Guardian Spirit Academy. With newfound confidence from the system notification, Yiling reassures his friend not to worry. Even though he doesn't yet fully understand the purpose of the system, he is now confident that a low-level Guardian Academy cannot meet his needs. His aim is higher. Some students overhear Yiling's ambitious statement. One of them, Liu Wu, mocks him for dreaming of getting into the top Guardian Spirit Academy. He belittles Yiling because of his weak zombie pet, which Liu Wu believes would never be allowed into the academy. Chenjai, annoyed, warns Liu Wu not to use the power of his family to bully others. Yiling, however, chooses to ignore Liu Wu for now, acknowledging that they lack the strength to confront him. Despite the Liu family only being a second-rate family in Tanhui City, its patriarch has surpassed the 5th stage of the Guardian Spirit. With only a handful of first-class families and 5 second-rate families in the city, the Liu family is far from weak. Yiling advised Chenjai not to be impulsive. He asserted, "For a gentleman, revenge can wait even 10 years. Now is not the time for a fight, let's wait and see. Only when I can enter the prestigious Guardian Spirit Academy will I challenge Liu Wu. Then we'll see what the Liu family can do to me." Yiling added this before both he and Chenjai left the classroom. As they exited, Chenjai, still annoyed, showed his middle finger to Liu Wu and his friend. Liu Wu's friend boasted that Liu Wu was going to take the advanced test at the top Guardian Spirit Academy. Outside the campus, Chenjai and Yiling bid each other goodbye. Chenjai needed to go to the training hall, while Yiling decided to go home. Overwhelmed with excitement, he wanted to return home and explore what the Guardian Spirit system truly entailed. Upon reaching home, Yiling wasted no time and instantly summoned the system. A window appeared, announcing that the Guardian Spirit system was officially launched. It would aid the host in understanding various aspects of spiritual pets and their information. Furthermore, it could also enhance the experience points of the pets, enabling them to level up rapidly. Thrilled that the system could speed up the upgrading of spiritual pets, Yiling took a look at his self-information. He was currently at rank 1, level 2, with a level 1 spiritual chain, level 1 spiritual shield, and level 1 spiritual vision. The chain and shield consumed 100 spiritual energy units, while the vision used up 10 units per second. Yiling's spirit pet was the black-eyed zombie, an undead creature of rank 1, level 2. It had mediocre growth power and a talent for physical damage reduction. Surprisingly, the system showed an evolutionary direction for the pet. Yiling was astonished at the prospect of his little zombie evolving. As long as the spiritual pet evolved, its growth power would increase. In the taming spirit world, spiritual pets' growth power ranged across 8 levels: trash, mediocre, common, uncommon, rare, epic, legend, and myth. Though the myth level was the highest, no spiritual pet in the entire Federation had reached it. A trash level spirit pet could only be upgraded to a maximum of rank 4, level 10. A mediocre spirit pet could only be upgraded to rank 5, level 10, and so on. Only epic level spiritual pets had the chance to upgrade to ranks 9 and 10. Naturally, higher level legend spiritual pets possessed more talents and skills, giving them an advantage. Buoyed by the possibility of evolution, Yiling realized that his black-eyed zombie could transform from trash to a formidable entity. If it evolved into the ultimate red-eyed zombie king, its growth power could reach the myth level. Overjoyed, Yiling laughed heartily. With his guardian spirit system, the top guardian spirit academy seemed attainable. Suddenly, he remembered that a spirit pet required specific materials to evolve. Checking the system, he found out what was needed to transform his little zombie. The system offered a benefit for the first evolution without needing any resources and granted him 2 free available points. Skeptical about this free evolution, Yiling decided to take the chance since he had already signed a contract. He decided to evolve his black-eyed zombie. Pressing evolve on the window, his little zombie floated above, enveloped by azure flame. The zombie smiled and closed its eyes as its hands transformed into feminine ones. It grew taller, with long white hair and sexy legs. Yiling was taken aback by this transformation. He had not expected his pet to evolve to such an extent, and concluded that he might have made a mistake. His little black-eyed zombie had transformed into a beautiful woman who looked very human-like. She uttered, "Master, please take care of me." While staring at his pet, Yiling was clueless and couldn't utter any words. He suddenly stood still, shocked at the sight of his transformed pet. Thrilled by the sight of his evolved, strikingly pretty female zombie, he immediately checked his pet's attributes. After all, she would be hunting monsters soon. From being a black-eyed zombie, his pet had now evolved into an undead class white-eyed zombie with common growth power and skill. Yiling was glad that his pet's growth power had evolved from trash to common and even acquired a bloodless skill. When the owner fights against an enemy and causes damage to the opponent, they can recover from their injuries while significantly increasing their attack power. Its duration is 3 minutes with a 5-minute cooldown. Although it has a cooldown, this skill can heal injuries and provide longer-lasting combat power. Bloodless stability, combined with damage reduction ability, can cause considerable damage. It's indeed a good mate shield. Yiling asked the system about obtaining skill and talent points. The system answered that he would be given a free point. He can add these points to the skills and talents as needed. He only needs to use the free points to do so. Currently, he has only 2 points available. These points can not only be used to add to a pet's talents and skills but also to upgrade the skills mastered by the host using the available free points. Yiling was thrilled to learn that upgrading skills was possible with the system. The spiritual envoy possesses spiritual skills which require learning to master them. In the current schools, only 3 spiritual skills are taught, namely Spiritual Chain, Spiritual Shield, and Spiritual Vision. The spiritual skills the Imperial Spiritual Envoy has are not easy to upgrade and require a lot of time to cultivate. However, Yiling's spiritual power is too low, and upgrading his spiritual skills consumes too much, so it's not worth it for him. Instead, he decided to first add some to the female zombie. There are 3 choices: magic damage reduction, which can slightly reduce damage, high speed regeneration as long as it's not instantly eliminated. Rapid recovery occurs regardless of the severity of the injury, but it requires physical energy consumption. And finally, a berserker gradually consumes health to greatly increase your own strength and speed. Once the health drops to a certain level, it will automatically turn off. After checking, Yiling was surprised that all these 3 skills are powerful. However, he felt zombies should behave like zombies, so he added high-speed regeneration to his pet's skills. As long as the spiritual pet doesn't die, it will continue to regenerate. A spiritual pet is also a creature that can be fatally injured. For Yiling, it would be very troublesome if his pet suffered a fatal injury while in battle. That's why she needs to have a high-speed regenerative ability. After using a Berserker, his pet will gradually reduce her own health to increase strength and speed. If this is combined with the skill of Bloodlust, she can restore her health by attacking the enemy. Yiling tried the skill, and his pet's eyes turned red, and her nails became sharp. He believes that if this cycle continues, his female zombie will become terrifying. Because of this, he also added the Berserker skill to his female zombie. He stared at his pet, and he decided to no longer call her a black-eyed zombie, instead referring to her as a female zombie. Yiling pinched the cheek of his female zombie and realized that her skin had also become soft and seemed no different from normal human skin. The female zombie became thrilled and asked her master, Yiling, what he was doing. Yiling apologized to her and almost forgot that his pet could now speak. He used to call his pet a zombie, so he thought it might be unpleasant to her ears. That's why, instead of calling her a female white zombie, Yiling decided to name her Zuyu. How does it sound? Yiling asked, and his pet loved the given name so much. Okay, I'll call you Zuyu from now on, Yiling added, and Zuyu nodded in response. There are now a total of 4 talents and skills combined. Yiling's spiritual pet is much more powerful than other spiritual pets and monsters with the same growth power. However, to continue the evolution of Zuyu, they need to hunt more monsters. It's time to go monster hunting, Yiling uttered. The Federation he was in right now was not technologically weak, but it was slightly different from previous generations of technology. Although vehicles such as cars and airplanes existed, they were not powered by gasoline or electricity but by spiritual energy. Spiritual power could be said to be the driving force of all devices. However, both cars and airships were limited to driving within cities. Outside the city were areas where monsters ran rampant. Daring to drive out was suicidal. The nearest means of transportation were still cars, and if it was not a shuttle between cities, the safest were still airships because the Federation had arranged for a powerful Imperial Spirit envoy to accompany the airship. As long as it did not encounter a large number of flying monsters, the safety of airships was basically guaranteed in the Alliance. The only currency was the credit points, just like money in Yiling's previous life. Yiling got into a taxi and asked the driver to take him to the South Gate. The driver was shocked upon hearing it. He concluded that Yiling was a student from Tanhu School and going alone to the South Gate was very dangerous since it's a place rampant with monsters. Yiling proudly confirmed that he was from Tanhu School and even told the driver that the South Gate was a place for hunting monsters. Yes, the South Gate was indeed a dangerous place. The entire Tanhu city had 4 gates, east, west, north, and south. Each gate was guarded by heavily armed soldiers to prevent the invasion of monsters. Since Yiling now saw himself as not a useless person, he continued to go to the South Gate despite what the driver said. When he arrived, before he could enter, a guard outside asked for an identification card. Yiling confidently handed it to the guard, and in an instant, he was allowed to enter. Around the city, there were some relatively low-level monsters. High-level monsters were usually located far from the city in the wilderness, and Yiling knew he had to be careful. He then summoned Zuyu to start farming. Fortunately, he was already prepared. He took a look at the distribution of monsters near the South Gate. The level of undead skeleton monsters here was not high, and they could also collect evolution materials from their blood. That's it, Zuyu, let's go, Yiling confidently uttered. He walked to the forest while Zuyu kept following him. The first evolution is given by the system for free, and the subsequent evolution materials need to be collected by himself. His target now is to evolve his pet into an uncommon gray-eyed zombie, and the materials he needs are 1 flawless bone, 1 heart of darkness, 10 darkness crystals, and 10 dark blood essences. In this burial mound, there is a chance to obtain 2 of these materials. One is the flawless bone, and the other is the secondary darkness crystal. All of a sudden, Zuyu spoke and she said, "Here," making Yiling asks what's wrong. "Is our destination here?" Yiling asked. Undeads are everywhere," Zuyu answered. Yiling then confirmed that this is the area where they should hunt undeads, but then he didn't see any of them. He checked the map and found that there should be skeleton soldiers on the outskirts of the burial mound, and their strength is around rank 1 level 3. While he was walking, a skeleton suddenly grabbed his shoes from the ground, and after it, several undeads emerged from the underground. He then ordered Zuyu to finish the skeletons. Without his awareness, a window appeared to inform him that there was a new mission for him. In the first battle, he needs to execute 20 skeleton soldiers. Once completed, he will be awarded 50% of the current spirit pet experience points to progress. Yiling was surprised by this overrated reward of 50 experience points. He then ordered Zuyu to continue attacking all of the skeleton soldiers. With Zuyu's bloodlust being activated, 4 skeletons crumbled into pieces, and she successfully eliminated them. Yiling was amazed at witnessing Zuyu eliminate 4 skeleton soldiers in one move. "Crush them," he ordered. Skeleton soldiers are rushing to them, holding their swords and yelling. He tells Zuyu not to leave a single skeleton. The skeleton's eyes were red and were very determined to attack Zuyu and Yiling. Zuyu then jumped while her bloodlust was activated. There is a corpse poison on Zuyu's nails. As long as she scratches the opponent's skin, the corpse poison will invade the enemy's body. However, for monsters like skeletons which are immune to most negative effects, it doesn't have much effect. Although this group of skeleton soldiers barely reached rank 1 level 2 or level 3, they were still too far behind Zuyu. At this point, she has already executed 6 skeleton soldiers in a minute, and Yiling concludes that his mission will be completed quickly. More skeleton soldiers get up from the underground, but Zuyu is ready to battle against them. Several skeletons were dashing to them, and Zuyu activated her bloodlust once more and attacked all of them in an instant. At last, the first battle was completed as Zuyu executed a total of 20 skeleton soldiers, and she was rewarded 50% of her current experience. Yiling was so excited that both he and his spirit pet were about to level up in just a second. After his excitement, a yellow flame surrounded Zuyu and she leveled up. Yiling was so surprised that his pet instantly leveled up to rank 1 level 3. Also, they were rewarded 1 free point. Yiling believes that it's more important to level up Zuyu faster. That's why he decided to use the free point for Zuyu's magic reduction. He also vows that once the attack power is sufficient, he will focus on increasing magic resistance so that Zuyu can withstand it when facing enemies' magic attacks. Yiling saw that there were elite skeleton soldiers nearby, which was recorded on the map, so he invited Zuyu to go to that area together. Zuyu only smiled as a sign that she responded. When they both arrived, there was a lady wearing a golden dress who was facing a skeleton soldier. Yiling decided to hide for now and observe the lady while fighting the skeleton soldier. This area is much more dangerous as it has a sharp sword and wears armor. It also had a sharp edge on its helmet. This skeleton was surrounded by purple flames as it was rushing to the lady and was ready to attack. But then the lady was too calm, and she even managed to smile. By looking at her, Yiling realized that this lady is Huo Zioner and was already ahead of him. Huo Zioner was standing fearlessly and she was alone. Yiling was dumbfounded after witnessing that Huo Zioner doesn't have a spirit pet with her. What happened next made Yiling more shocked. She summoned her spiritual pet, an Earth Dragon. It was a rare power growth and among the spiritual pets with hunger-based stats. Earth Dragon, stop playing around and finish up, Huo Zioner ordered. Her Earth Dragon then rushed towards the epic skeleton officer, approaching it with visible fright. Without wasting time, the Earth Dragon attacked the skeleton soldier using its long, sharp tail. With just that attack, the skeleton's legs were shattered into pieces, causing it to fall to the ground in front of the Earth Dragon. Yiling, still in hiding, marveled at the strength of the Earth Dragon. The dragon then roared so loudly that its red eyes appeared to flame. Using its sharp claw, it grabbed the skeleton and ended its life. A golden light then emerged, followed by a purple flame as the skeleton disappeared. Huo Zioner, holding a soul bottle, collected the soul fire left behind. Witnessing the battle, Yiling noted that the skeleton soldier had dropped a soul fire. It was the monster core of skeleton-class monsters. He was astounded, thinking, Huo Zioner is really something. The Hugo family is truly one of the 3 major families in Tanhui City. Well done, Earth Dragon, Huo Zioner said, smiling widely while holding her Earth Dragon. Suddenly, she ordered Yiling to reveal himself, stating that there was no point in him continuing to hide. Startled, Yiling emerged. According to him, Huo Zioner was the eldest daughter of the Hugo family, the future heir, and the school's beauty. She had reached the 7th level of the 1st rank at such a young age. In contrast, he had only reached the 2nd level of the 1st rank after more than half a year. He introduced himself to Huo Zioner and explained why he was hiding. To his surprise, Huo Zioner already knew his name and the fact that his first contracted spirit pet was a non-evolvable zombie. What are you doing alone in such a dangerous place like the burial mound? She asked. Where I choose to go is my business. It's not for you to worry about, is it? Yiling retorted. At this, the Earth Dragon became furious, gritting its teeth and confusing both Huo Zioner and Yiling with a sudden, loud roar. Yiling was so startled and scared that he also screamed loudly. Huo Zioner laughed at this scene, tears even falling from her eyes due to her amusement. She then ordered her dragon to stop scaring Yiling. The dragon complied, and Yiling held his chest, still shaken by the dragon's roar. She called his name, reminding him, this place is too dangerous. It's not a place you should come to. You should return as soon as possible. Huo Zioner said. There's no need. I am capable of taking care of myself, so there's no need for you to worry about me. If there is nothing else, then I'll take my leave, Yiling replied. He believed that Huo Zioner still thought of him as the same old Yiling they knew. Bidding farewell, he left. The dragon stared at its master, Huo Zioner, who appeared slightly annoyed. She was trying to make kind gestures, but Yiling didn't appreciate them. She wanted to see what Yiling was planning to do at the burial mound. She cast a recovery spiritual seal, thinking Yiling was just a guy from the bottom few in their 3rd grade class who dared to come to the burial mound alone. "I want to see what the hell you're up to," she muttered. As per her plan, she followed Yiling to the burial mound. However, Yiling became aware of her existence, and he was clueless about what Huo Zioner was trying to accomplish. Huo Zioner was so engrossed in observing him, but he didn't care. What mattered most to him was increasing his rank. As he walked, a skeleton soldier grabbed his foot, and several skeletons emerged, along with 3 skeleton soldiers. Yiling assumed this was a trap. To his surprise, a mass of skeleton soldiers emerged at once and rushed him. Huo Zioner was taken aback, believing that Yiling was now in trouble. The skeleton officer targeted Yiling, raised his sword, and launched an attack. Yiling opened a portal and summoned Zuyu. Zuyu positioned herself in front of Yiling, and Lady Huo Zioner was shocked to see a beautiful zombie, which was Yiling's spiritual pet. She was confused about whether Zuyu was a mutated or evolved spiritual pet. Zuyu instantly activated her bloodlust and charged at the skeleton soldier. The soldier was also prepared to attack her. Zuyu leaped and swiped at the skeleton, but the officer blocked Zuyu's claws with his shield. Zuyu, being clever, maneuvered behind the skeleton officer and struck him from behind. The soldier crumbled into pieces, while Zuyu remained unharmed. Huo Zioner was dumbfounded upon seeing Zuyu's strength. "This is just the beginning. The real show is yet to come," Yiling confidently stated. A system window appeared, providing him with another task: to eliminate 20 skeleton soldiers. Upon completion, he would gain a 50% increase in his current spiritual pet's experience. Additionally, he would receive an outfit for his spiritual pet. There was another task too. He had to eliminate 100 skeleton officers. In reward, his pet's level would immediately increase by 1. Yiling was thrilled about the task but acknowledged that taking out 100 skeleton officers would be somewhat tiring. Several skeletons were roaring and charging at Yiling and Zuyu. At this point, Yiling ordered his spiritual pet to activate Berserker. Zuyu followed his order and blood dripped from her mouth. A red and a black flame emerged as Berserker was activated. Huo Zioner knew that Berserker reduced one's health points while continuously increasing speed and power. To her, it seemed oddly perverse that a blood-sucking zombie was paired with Berserker. Zuyu readied her claws, and with incredible speed, she attacked the skeletons one by one. Each attacked skeleton crumbled to pieces. As a skeleton officer charged at Zuyu, Yiling decided to test the spiritual chain. Upon activating it, a chain was summoned, and the skeleton officer was bound by it. The skeleton officer cannot resist and falls to the ground. Yiling sees the opportunity and orders Zuyu to attack. Zuyu dashes forward, focused on her main target. She raises her foot and kicks the officer's head, sending the skeleton flying and crumbling into pieces. Huo Zioner, witnessing this for the first time, is amazed at the display of a berserker's skill. Now she is convinced that her Earth Dragon is no match for it. Ying, pleased with his spiritual pet's strength, orders her to finish the battle as quickly as possible. The remaining skeletons are moving towards Zuyu, but she targets the officer first. Rushing forward, she slashes at the skeleton soldier with her claw, breaking its bone into pieces with one swift move. She continues attacking the skeleton soldiers until all are defeated. Once done, she walks towards Yiling. Witnessing the toughest skull of the skeleton soldier pierced in one go by Zuyu, Hugo Zioner realizes that she has underestimated Yiling. He is now her biggest opponent for entry into the top-level Guardian Spirit Academy. She walks away, vowing not to give up so easily. After the fight, Yiling examines the skeleton, picking up the skull in confusion. He had hoped to find some valuable items, but the lack of any good loot leaves him disappointed. As he throws away the skull, an auto pickup window appears. The system recognizes Yiling's need and issues him a mission to level up to rank 2, level 1. The auto pickup feature will become available once he completes this task. Currently, Yiling is at rank 1, level 3, and the path to rank 2 seems long. Undeterred, he decides to pick up the bones manually. As he does, he notices something shiny embedded in the skeleton's spine, a flawless bone. He smiles, realizing it's a material required for Zuyu's evolution. What an unexpected fortune to find the first evolution material so easily. The only other potential evolutionary materials for Zuyu at the burial mound are a second-grade darkness crystal. Yiling encourages Zuyu to keep searching. "There are still many targets waiting for us," he says. Zuyu agrees, eager to continue. A few hours later, Zuyu, now tired from defeating several skeletons in a row, finds her dress damaged from the repeated attacks. At that moment, a group of skeleton officers approach her. Unfazed, she activates her berserker skills, her body igniting with flame. She raises her hand and strikes down the leading officer, as expected, eliminating it. Yiling stepped into the skull. To his surprise, there was a system notification. He had already completed the elimination of 20 elite skeletons. Because of this, he received a 50% experience progress boost and a set of exclusive clothes. With this 50% increase, Ju's experience level rose to 80%. The rewarded clothes were exclusive to Zuyu, a niche bloody garment providing effective resistance against both physical and magical attacks. It came with a self-cleaning function and was indestructible. The arrival of this garment was perfectly timed as Zuyu's dress had been completely damaged. Yiling handed the garment to his spiritual pet and ordered her to change quickly. "Yes, master," Su answered. While Zuyu was changing her clothes, her old ones were being removed. That's why Yiling covered one eye. He was unprepared to see a female's body. The garment began to cover Zuyu's upper part. It featured a sharp detail on the arm and was a short dress that only covered a small part of her legs. It was black on the outside with a red lining. The dress also came with a belt resembling a skeleton skull and bones. Her shoes were red with white and had a cross sign on the front. Once she was dressed, Yiling ordered her to give the outfit a try, as several skeletons were reviving. The skeletons rose and readied their attack, but with just one slash, Zuyu broke them into pieces. The good thing about this dress is that it has an auto-repair function, Yiling observed. Zuyu continued attacking the skeletons, and a golden black colored path appeared as she leveled up. Yiling could hardly believe that they had leveled up 2 levels in a row in just one day, reaching the first level 4. The system congratulated them and notified them that they had obtained 1 free point. Feeling the strain of the day, and aware that the night could bring more dangerous monsters, Yiling decided to head home and rest. "Su, let's go home," he said. "Yes, master," Zuyu answered. Upon returning home, Yiling lay in his bed at 11:10 p.m., checking the system. In just one day of hunting, both Zuyu and he had undergone drastic changes. With only a few days left before the academy selection, he knew he needed to level up quickly by battling more monsters in the coming days. Deciding to rest, he planned to call his professor the next day to request a leave of absence. From another perspective, Hugo Zioner was practicing her skills outside her house. She was training with her spiritual chain skill, determined to perfect it. She didn't want to lose against Yiling. Her father interrupted her training, asking why she was still awake in the middle of the night. Without hesitation, Hugo Zioner told him she had seen an evolved zombie that day. Her father, not believing her, concluded that his daughter must be mistaken, as he believed zombies couldn't evolve. "Zioner, the academy selection is very important, but you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself. Just do your best," her father advised, telling her to go to bed. 3 days later, Yiling stood confidently, smiling as the day of the academy selection had finally arrived. At the heart of Tianhui City lies the mayor's mansion, brimming with an assortment of flying vehicles. Chen Jai stands in amazement, pondering if these are the vessels of the Guardian Spirit Academies. Mayor Shang Lingkong chuckles heartily, proclaiming that he has been eagerly waiting for their arrival. One of the representatives greets Mayor Lingkong with respect. The representative of King Long Academy, Lu Feng, who is ranked 7 and level 8, pays his regards to Mayor Lingkong. Bai Tong, the representative from Baihu Academy, who holds a rank of 7 and level 7, offers an apology to Mayor Lingkong for any inconvenience they may have caused. Mayor Lingkong assures the woman that he understands the fatigue of the journey. Hu Ling, a representative from Xuanwu Academy with a rank of 7 and level 7, introduces herself to Mayor Lingkong, sharing her belief that this is their first encounter. She mentions she is there on behalf of the lady who separated from the Huo family and expresses curiosity about whether the lady is genuinely as gifted as the rumors suggest. Mayor Lingkong greets Ling warmly, confirming that Huo Zioner from the Huo family is indeed an unparalleled genius. She outshines all the youngsters in the entirety of Tianhui City. A representative from the Guardian Spirit Academy, Hong Zhu, rank 7, level 8, suggests to Mayor Lingkong that the others are probably getting impatient. Mayor Lingkong concurs, suggesting they proceed directly to the trial location without further ado. At the examination field, Chen Jai searches for Yiling, speculating that Yiling might have forfeited the election, given his lack of contact for days. Suddenly, Yiling calls out to Chen Jai, causing him to turn around. He cheekily inquires if he's late. Chen Jai jestingly calls him a punk, questioning his recent whereabouts as they had lost contact, and he would have thought Yiling had passed away if it hadn't been for a teacher's note about his leave. Yiling reassures Chen Jai, asserting his resilience and explaining that he has spent the last few days cultivating his abilities. This statement triggers curiosity in Chen Jai, causing him to question why Yiling seems different. In response, Yiling suggests that it might be due to an impending offer from the top Guardian Academy. Upon hearing this, the other students burst into laughter, dubbing Yiling a joke and mocking his lackluster spiritual pet. Unfazed, Yiling smiles confidently, telling them that they can mock him now, but after today, they will no longer have a reason to laugh. This statement leaves Chen Jai bewildered. Suddenly, someone pointed at the stage, announcing that the representative of the 4 academies and the mayor had arrived. The mayor and the representative emerged from the portal. Mayor Linkong noted how active the participants were this year and urged them to proceed. One of the representatives instructed the participants to quiet down, as the trial was about to begin. Yuling confidently retorted that everyone should simply wait and see. The teacher relayed that the trial would start soon and, for clarity, reiterated the trial's contents. The Guardian Spirit trial comprises 2 parts. Part 1 involves surviving in the secret domain, whereby all students participating in the trial will be teleported to a fixed secret domain. Participants will face attacks from a rank 1 demonic beast and must endure for 3 days within this domain. Participants who pass the first part of the trial will proceed to the second part. Part 2 focuses on combat. Students are divided into groups, where the victors advance to the next round while the losers face setbacks within their respective groups. Anyone who fails in the first round qualifies only for admission into a low-ranking Guardian Spirit Academy. However, the more rounds a participant wins, the higher their chances are of gaining entry into a high-ranking Guardian Spirit Academy. The top 10 participants stand an equal chance of gaining admission into the top Guardian Spirit Academy. If they don't make the top 10, they will at least secure a place in a high-ranking Guardian Spirit Academy. The teacher further cautioned them to compete within their abilities and to avoid pushing themselves excessively, lest they pay the price with their lives. After all, life holds more value than anything else. Without it, nothing remains. A student questioned whether fatalities were a real possibility, to which the teacher responded that unexpected dangers could lurk anywhere within the trial, and the participants themselves were their only lifelines. Yuling, anticipating the challenge, mentally prepared himself, thinking, "Bring it on." Suddenly, a new mission appeared in the system, stating that he should complete the first recruitment trial of the Guardian Spirit Academy, with the reward being 3 spirit power crystals. Yuling, considering the presence of only rank 1 demonic beasts in the domain, concluded it should be easy. In the midst of the students, one shouted that Huo Zioner was at the front of the line, leaving Zioner visibly confused. Another student begins discussing Zioner, mentioning they've heard that Zioner is the seeded player in the exam and that several esteemed academies are expected to observe her. Yuling expresses his confidence, eager to show them who the truly talented genius is. As everyone's gaze turns toward the stage, Mayor Linkong calls for silence and opens a portal. A student cries out, announcing the opening of the gate to the secret realm and the official commencement of the first stage of the exam. The teacher instructs everyone to move quickly, urging them to enter the secret realm as soon as possible to secure the best positions. Zioner promptly steps through the portal, leaving Ling impressed. Bai Tong chimes in, commenting that he finds Yuling, who was last to enter, rather interesting. Ling tells Bai Tong that his observation is sharp, but the order of entry should ideally be based on academic performance. As everyone rushes in, Yuling declares that he will let them enter first because, for him, the secret realm is the perfect place to gather materials. He then steps through the portal. Once inside the secret realm, students are dispersed to various locations. Some into a jungle, others by a river, and some into a desert. Yuling is taken aback to find himself on top of a mountain. He summons Zuyu, believing it wiser to have her by his side from the outset. He advises Zuyu that they need to descend the mountain first. As they make their way down, Yuling queries Zuyu about the time they've spent walking, expressing his surprise at not encountering a single candidate or monster, which he finds peculiar. Suddenly, a bird soars overhead, its screeching causing Yuling to cover his ears. He recognizes it as a steel-winged bird, a rank 4 monster, and he's grateful that, judging by the length of its wings, it appears to be an infant. He orders Zuyu to teach the bird how to behave, and she agrees, transforming into her berserk mode. Zuyu lunges at the steel-winged bird, attacking it with her claws and causing it to cough up blood. She lands back on the ground as the bird flies away. Yuling calls out to the fleeing bird, telling it to fly fast and warning that it won't be so fortunate next time. He remarks to Zuyu that it's a shame she can't fly. At the cave, a steel bird is seen flying nearby. Yuling informs Zuyu that to survive out there for 3 days, a cave is always safer than staying outside. Therefore, he decides that they should temporarily settle in this cave for now. The steel bird screeches at Yuling, causing him to cover his ears. Yuling is annoyed because the steel bird keeps following them, and if they don't deal with it soon, it'll be impossible to find peace of mind or get a good night's sleep. He suspects that the steel bird doesn't dare to attack them because it's obviously afraid of Zuyu, but he is the real target. He steps a little outside of the cave and tells Zuyu that they need to come up with a plan to lure the steel bird, instructing her to stay hidden for now. Then, he shouts at the steel bird, challenging it to launch an attack on him, but the steel bird merely screeches at him. He commends the steel bird for its caution and decides to move further away, believing that the steel bird won't take the bait. He begins to run, and when he is far enough away, he stops, contemplating that a thicket is the most dangerous place for a monster, and the steel bird must be preparing to make a move. The steel bird screeches at him angrily, using its sharp feather to attack him. He confidently asserts that the steel bird indeed exhibits intelligence, testing its chances before launching an attack. But luckily, he was prepared for that. He then uses the spiritual shield to block the attack, noting that the feather is exceptionally tough. The steel bird lunges at him, and he observes that the bird's beak is even tougher, doubting that his level 1 spirit shield might withstand it. Without delay, he switches his shield to a spiritual chain and successfully captures the steel bird. He then orders Zuyu to take care of the steel bird, to which she agrees, launching at the steel bird. She rapidly transitions into her berserk mode mid-air. The steel bird launched an attack with its feather, hitting Zuyu slightly in the face. Zuyu retaliated, severing its head. As she landed on the ground with the steel bird, Yiling remarked that it could no longer fly. He expressed his curiosity about the kind of evolution material it possessed. Yiling picked up its head, surprised by the high-level evolution materials, which typically come at a significant price. However, he didn't currently need them. The materials he received included the feather, talon, and beak of a steel bird. This made him consider the urgency of advancing to the second stage as soon as possible. Turning to Zuyu, Yiling informed her that the neck meat of the steel bird was a high-tier ingredient, usually found only in 5-star hotels within Tianhui City. He promised that they would enjoy a culinary treat that evening. Back at the cave, they questioned Zuyu about whether zombies preferred raw or cooked food or if they needed to eat at all, leaving her perplexed. Meanwhile, on the stage, Ling found Yiling fascinating. She had never anticipated that a level 4, first stage steel bird could be dispatched so effortlessly. Bai Tong concurred, stating that such strength at a young age was quite impressive in Tianhui City. Lu Feng added that Yiling's rare humanoid spirit pet piqued his interest for Yiling's future performance. Hong Xiu expressed regret, considering it unfortunate that Juju Academy only accepted female students. At that moment, a man delivered the information tablet Mayor Ling Kong had requested. Scanning the tablet, he was taken aback by some revelation, causing him to jump from his seat and cough. His reaction surprised the representatives. Ling was astonished to learn that Zuyu was, in fact, a zombie. Lu Feng was in disbelief, asserting that it was impossible. Bai Tong suggested that perhaps Zuyu had evolved, to which Hong Jai retorted that zombies could not evolve. Despite this, Bai Tong found the situation intriguing. He stated that since Yiling had participated in the assessment, as long as they could recruit him into their academy, everything would be clarified once and for all. In the secret realm, a large snake is coiled around a sizable stone. Liu Wu sits next to it, convinced that this place is indeed a treasure trove. He believes only a fool would provoke such a powerful creature like the monstrous, venomous scale python. Liu Wu speculates that as long as he remains hidden, with the black venomous snake concealing his scent, he can pass 3 days peacefully. Observing the smoke, Liu Wu surmises that the night is the most dangerous time. Many powerful magical creatures emerge during these hours, who, he wonders, would be foolhardy enough to start a fire under such circumstances. Meanwhile, at the bonfire, Yiling tells Zuyu that since she refuses to eat, he will help himself. Biting into the meat, he contemplates its exceptional quality. In his opinion, it surpasses even the chicken neck due to its texture and chewiness. All the while, Zuyu merely observes him. Suddenly, she notices something and directs his attention to the nearby branches, alerting Yiling that she heard something. A white wolf, its body crackling with electricity, emerges, followed by a pack of gray wolves. Zuyu immediately shifts into her berserk mode. Yiling, throwing the food onto his back, declares that he has been waiting for this. If not, how could he possibly gain experience during the lengthy night? The Demon Wolf King, ranked 1 level 7, glares at him furiously, and the pack begins to advance. Caught off guard by the formidable opponent, Yiling warns that it shouldn't be underestimated. He informs Zuyu that he is counting on her. As the Demon Wolf King orders the other wolves to attack, Zuyu swiftly prepares for the onslaught. She attacks 2 wolves, only to have another appear behind her, ready to bite. However, before it can strike, she whirls around to kick it away. While Zuyu combats the wolves, the Demon Wolf King charges at Yiling, surprising him. As the Demon Wolf King lunges, Yiling calls for Zuyu. She promptly spins around and manages to clamp onto the Demon Wolf King's mouth. As she wrestles with the Demon Wolf King, the rest of the wolves charge toward them. She notices it and quickly throws the Wolf King's mouth to the side. With her fastest attack, she swiftly strikes the wolves one by one. Zuyu and the Wolf Demon King exchange looks, the latter sporting a scratch on its left eye, growling at her. Yiling can't help but admit that Zuyu's skills are truly terrifying and awe-inspiring. However, there is undoubtedly a gap in strength. After all, the current Zuyu is a rank 1 level 9 spiritual pet. The Wolf Demon King, resorting to frenetic roaring, glares at them with murderous intent, then rushes towards them. The demon wolf lunges at Zuyu, but she nimbly jumps to dodge it. She lands on the Wolf Demon King, delivering a powerful kick that sends it hurtling to the ground. Yiling and Zuyu approach the fallen demon wolf king to inspect its corpse. Yiling extracts the heart of the demon wolf along with the dark blood essence, the evolutionary materials he requires. He assures Zuyu that with these materials, she will certainly evolve rapidly. Outside the venue, the audience watches Yiling with surprise, taken aback by his formidable power. They find Yiling's name familiar, recalling him as the useless individual who forged a contract with a zombie. His teacher, also watching, wonders about the unfolding events and whether Zuyu is genuinely his spiritual pet. Suddenly, a portal opens and a man emerges, crying out in terror and begging for salvation. Mayor Lincoln calls out to the medical staff to attend to the injured candidates. The medical team promptly rushes to assist the man, who pleads for another chance to participate in the assessment. The teacher sighs, disheartened by the student's elimination in the first round. He muses that the student is fated to live an ordinary life. He regards the assessments as inherently dangerous and cruel, shocking the nearby student with his candor. Gazing at the screen, he adds that if the student had endured just one more minute in the secret realm, they would have earned another chance. On the stage, Lu Feng is joyfully stating that Yiling is the candidate King Long Academy desires. Yet, Bai Tong reminds him not to forget that he was the first one to discover Yiling. Ling comments that it was unexpected because Yiling's spiritual pet indeed possesses impressive strength. Lu Feng agrees, acknowledging the pet's substantial attack power. This prompts Mayor Lincoln to caution them to remain calm, as the assessment isn't over yet, thus there's no need to rush. Mayor Lincoln laughs, suggesting they should continue observing the situation inside the secret realm. Meanwhile, Zuyu and Yiling are walking, with Yiling suggesting that they would be safer to find a new location. Suddenly, Zuyu senses something and warns Yiling of an imminent situation. She then transforms into her berserk mode, leading Yiling to question what has happened. They spot someone running away from a massive snake, pleading for help. The person on the run is Liu Wu, cursing, while the venomous scale python gives chase. Yiling is surprised to see Liu Wu. As Liu Wu runs, he looks back at the monster, wishing he had stayed awake. His snoring had woken the monster, making his predicament increasingly troublesome. The venomous scale python spits a poisonous substance at Liu as he continues to flee, asking if anyone is around. Fortunately, he isn't hit but stumbles and falls to the ground. Recognizing him, Liu Wu is surprised to see Yiling still alive. He furiously grits his teeth, thinking that Yiling, whom he considers worthless, appeared just in time. Even if he doesn't pass the assessment, he's determined to drag Yiling down with him. He then begins to run towards Yiling and Zuyu, taunting the venomous scale python to follow him. Yiling is confused, wondering if Liu Wu has lost his senses. Next, Liu Wu lunges at Yiling, mocking him for being useless and wishing for his death. Just before the snake is about to devour him, Liu Wu activates his portal device, vowing that even if he loses, he won't let Yiling off easily. Then he got teleported and the venomous scale python hits the ground in front of Yiling and Zuyu. Fortunately, Yiling steps back, while Zuyu steps forward to shield him. Liu emerges from the teleportation outside the venue, missing an arm. Medical staff immediately rush towards him. The medical staff ask Liu Wu to come with them to treat his injuries, but Liu dismisses them, telling them to go away. He assures them there's no need for treatment, as he intends to stay and keep watching. Mockingly, Liu Wu turns to the screen displaying Yiling's predicament and remarks, "Let's see how Yiling is going to die." On the stage, the mayor and representative watch the spectacle unfold. Ling poses a question, asking if they believe Yiling stands a chance against the venomous scale python. Angrily, Lu Feng retorts, questioning if she's joking. He points out that the venomous scale python is a rank 1, level 9 monster, a formidable creature unlike the previous steel bird. In response, Bai Tong proposes a bet to Lu Feng. He wagers 50,000 federal points that Yiling will emerge victorious. Lu Feng agrees to the bet, convinced that Yiling will flee. Hong Zhu, finding the situation intriguing, opines that if Yiling can't secure a victory, he should indeed run away. She considers this a wise choice and decides to place a bet that Yiling will flee. Upon hearing this, Bai Tong turns to Ling, curious about her perspective. In contrast, Ling bets that Yiling will be killed. Amused, Bai Tong comments on Ling's cunning nature and invites Mayor Lincoln to participate in the wager. Mayor Lincoln declines to involve himself in their betting game but expresses his belief that the results will soon be evident. He encourages everyone to watch closely. Meanwhile, Zuyu and Yiling dodge the venomous scale python's attacks. Yiling acknowledges that even with Zuyu by his side, they are significantly disadvantaged in a direct confrontation. He evaluates the utility of his level 1 spiritual skill against such a high-level rank 1 monster and finds it wanting. Yiling communicates to Zuyu his need to raise the level of his spiritual skill. He then observes the spiritual chain and, as anticipated, confirms that after upgrading, the consumption of spiritual energy has doubled. At full capacity, it can only be used 3 times. As the venomous scale python spits a poisonous substance, Yiling realizes that they need to find the right moment to strike. Yiling dodged the poisonous substances and warned Zuyu, be on the lookout and don't get hit by the poison. Zuyu leaped, launching herself at the venomous scale python. The python retaliated with its tail, but she evaded the attack mid-air. Yiling, though amazed, warned Zuyu to watch out for the poisonous corrosion. Fortunately, she managed to retreat in time to dodge it. Yiling couldn't believe that the beast was also capable of releasing poisonous gas, and resolved that they needed to finish it quickly. He deployed a spiritual chain that wrapped around the venomous scale python, successfully binding it. He then signaled to Zuyu, "It's on you now." Without missing a beat, Zuyu launched herself at the venomous scale python. With her fastest claw attack, she struck the python's head. The creature let out a final scream before collapsing dead on the ground. Zuyu walked towards Yiling, who praised her efforts. "You did a good job." At the venue, Liu Wu was in disbelief that Yiling had managed to defeat the venomous scale python. He had always thought of Yiling as worthless. Lu Feng was equally astonished that Yiling had managed to master the level 2 spiritual chain in just 6 months. Hong Zhu nodded in agreement, acknowledging it as impressive because even a genius wouldn't be able to become so powerful. Mayor Linkong couldn't help but wonder why he hadn't noticed such a talented student in the academy before. Bai Tong informed them all, 350,000 federal credits per person. "I've already accounted for it in my book." Ling smiled, that was a good bet. The 50,000 federal credits were worth it. She excused herself to take a break. As she walked away, she thought to herself, Yiling is undoubtedly a rare genius. He will be mine. She had already informed the headmaster about this, and even thought of ways to improve his treatment. Yiling returns to looting the venomous scales and Snake's gallbladder. He believes it's worthwhile because these are high-ranked evolutionary materials and put him a step closer to evolving. He mentions to Zuyu that she is on the brink of leveling up. One more level, and she'll reach the peak of rank 1, level 10. He contemplates where to find more monsters to continue their progress. Suddenly, a sound echoes in the background, compelling them to turn. Yiling suspects it's the howl of demonic wolves. Meanwhile, the demonic wolf king confronts Xioner and her earth dragon. Xioner finds it hard to believe the sudden influx of so many demonic wolves. The wolf king is on par with the earth dragon in power, but they outnumber them. The demonic wolf king's rank is 1, level 8. Upon the wolf king's howl, the pack begins to charge towards them. The earth dragon counterattacks, swinging its tail at 2 wolves and managing to target those advancing on Xioner from the side. Despite its efforts, one wolf manages to bite the earth dragon, eliciting a painful roar. The sound of its roar is so fierce that it sends the wolves scurrying back in fear. Xioner, concerned, inquires about the earth dragon's condition. She muses that the earth dragon might be powerful, but it lacks in speed. This cannot continue, she thinks. Xioner instructs the earth dragon to retreat, which it obediently follows. The wolf king gives chase, closing the distance between them. Xioner urges the earth dragon to resist. As the wolf king approaches, it leaps and bites the earth dragon, causing it to roar in pain again. Xioner, alarmed, asks the earth dragon if it is alright, filled with doubt and fear. She starts to question if she is destined to perish here, unable to even get past the first part of the trial. The earth dragon descended to the ground, and Xioner began to weep. She stated that, even if it meant she had to abandon her trial, she couldn't bear to watch the earth dragon die. Just as the wolves were preparing to attack her, they were themselves assaulted, adding to her confusion. When the other wolves also faced the same fate, she recognized the source of the attack. Zuyu descended onto the battlefield as Yiling called out to Xioner. Upon seeing him, Xioner was taken aback. Yiling informed her that his massive, dim-witted dragon appeared to be severely injured. Meanwhile, at the stage, Lu Feng informed Ling that the prodigy she had come to support seemed to be facing a run of bad luck. Bai Tong added that Xioner was on the verge of triggering the emergency teleportation, to which Ling responded that it was premature to make such assumptions before the end. Bai Tong countered by saying that if it were up to him, he would have refrained from aiding her, arguing that every additional person present at the examination venue represented another competitor. The conversation then shifted back to the demonic Wolf King, who was eyeing Yiling and Zuyu warily. Yiling challenged the Wolf King, asking if it was planning to avenge its pack. He then ordered Zuyu to engage her berserk mode, a command she promptly followed. She lunged at the Wolf King, who was simultaneously besieged by a pack of wolves. With a swift twirl, she dispatched all the attacking wolves, sending them flying in all directions. The Wolf King looked on with apprehension as Yiling commanded Zuyu not to let it escape. In a swift movement, she advanced towards the Wolf King, catching it off guard. The king stared at her in fury, then charged at her. A horrified Xioner looked on as Yiling warned her to step aside. Fortunately, the Earth Dragon managed to take flight just in time. The Wolf King landed hard on the ground, causing the earth beneath him to shatter. Xioner watched as Yiling strolled towards the lifeless Wolf King and Zuyu battled the remaining wolves. She found it hard to believe that Yiling had become so powerful in such a short period, just a month. Moreover, he had even managed to save her. She glances at Yiling, who is gathering material from the Wolf King, and suspects that he's intentionally ignoring her because she's known as the prettiest girl in the academy. She debates whether she should initiate the conversation. Xioner thanks Yiling for saving her life, and he advises her to rest. He also warns that it isn't a good place to stay as the scent of blood may attract more monsters, making it dangerous. She blushes, wondering why Yiling is concerned about her safety, and proposes they partner up. This suggestion leaves Yiling confused. He thinks it would be more troublesome to travel with her and that going solo would be easier. However, considering her injured Earth Dragon, he doesn't want to leave her alone. Wouldn't that be mean? Xioner worries that Yiling thinks she'll be a burden and assures him she will compensate him adequately. She promises to pay him 100,000 federal credits when the first stage of the trial ends the next day. Considering the large sum, which he could use to buy a lot of evolving material, Yiling agrees, thinking it isn't a bad deal. Despite her inner shock, Xioner maintains a smile. She had believed Yiling was a gentleman but is now disappointed that he agreed so readily to the hefty payment. She thinks he's practically shaming her. As Yiling approaches with his palms up, Xioner wonders if he wants to hold hands. She contemplates if he's doing this because he saw her injured Earth Dragon and wants to ensure her safety. Xioner tells Yiling that they aren't close enough for such contact. But to her surprise, he asks for her card to process the 100,000 federal credits. Frustrated, she labels him as dense and clarifies that she didn't bring such a large sum to the competition. However, she assures him that as the daughter of the Hu family, she's good for it. While Xioner was explaining, she didn't notice Yiling handing her a piece of paper. She tells him that she will pay him the 100,000 federal credits once they leave the trial, but cautions that their escape is still uncertain. Yiling agrees but suggests they make a contract. He asks her to sign her name and place her thumbprint on the paper. Dumbfounded, Xioner labels Yiling as thick-headed but still questions if she really needs to sign it. Yiling simply asks if she's going to sign it or not. She signs the contract, returns the paper to Yiling, and inquires if he's satisfied now. Yiling receives the contract, assuring her that it's now official. He promises to protect her for the day, given her worth of 100,000 federal credits. Yiling then sits next to the Wolf King's corpse, telling Xioner to wait while he collects more evolving materials. Afterward, they will find a safer location. At the venue, Ling mentions that it seems someone is bound to be disappointed, and that Lady Luck is favoring the Hu family's daughter. Meanwhile, Bai Tong can hardly believe that Xioner managed to find Yiling, otherwise, Xioner would likely be out of the game. Lu Feng expresses his surprise at Yiling's ability to turn the situation around, a sentiment Ling echoes. Ling further adds that Yiling appeared at a pivotal time, but what's even more surprising is his potent spiritual pet. Mayor Linkong laughs, musing that there appear to be 4 representatives currently focusing their attention on Yiling. Hong Zhu informs them that she has received approval from their principal. Usually, the Zhukwei Academy doesn't admit male students, but they're willing to make an exception for Yiling. Ling reminds Hong Zhu that their academy is exclusively female, and Yiling would be the only male student. Ling jokingly questions if Hong Zhu is playing matchmaker. Hong Zhu simply laughs and tells Ling that there's a clear benefit, and it's merely a fair competition. Lu Feng shares his confusion about Yiling's apparent need for federal credits. He doesn't believe a genius like Yiling would be ill-treated. Mayor Linkong explains to Lu Feng that it's because Yiling doesn't come from a prestigious family. Furthermore, Yiling's academic performance is mediocre, only achieving a rank of 1 level 2. Lu Feng, shocked, questions if Yiling indeed comes from no prominent family and if his rank is only 1 level 2, finding it almost impossible to believe. Meanwhile, Yiling is resting near a tree, while Xioner occupies another seat. Xioner asks Yiling when he became so powerful, but he doesn't respond. Xioner moves closer to Yiling and suggests that since they can't fall asleep and they're leaving the next day, they should talk. Yiling counters, questioning why they can't just rest and what the point of talking would be. Xioner tells Yiling that if he converses with her, she'll pay him 5,000 federal credits. Yiling can hardly believe that she's offering 5,000 federal credits just for a conversation. He asks Xioner what she wishes to discuss. Xioner inquires as to why Yiling suddenly became so powerful and why his spiritual pet doesn't seem much like a zombie. Yiling summons Suyu and informs Xioner that Suyu is a zombie, albeit a mutated one. He contemplates whether revealing his system that can evolve zombies would shake the entire Federation, deciding it's best to keep it quiet. Xioner gazes at Zuyu, admiring Yiling's power in commanding such a creature. She wonders about the type of zombie Zuyu might be. Xioner reveals to Yiling her assumption that he's currently at rank 1, level 9, and should encounter no significant issues in entering a senior guardian spirit academy. She inquires whether he's made a choice yet. Yiling confesses that he hasn't thought that far, but he might opt for an academy teeming with attractive women, leaving Xioner disappointed. Xioner accuses him of being a playboy, leading to his confusion. He retorts that her accusation isn't exactly nice. Later, Yiling suggests to Xioner that since she has eaten and rested, it's time for them to move on. Xioner, confused, questions whether they should just stay put and wait for the trial to end the following day. Ignoring her inquiry, Yiling starts to walk, explaining to Xioner that everyone else is hiding and resting. He sees this moment as an opportune time for hunting and leveling up. He questions why he would miss such an opportunity and commands Zuyu to follow, which she does without hesitation. As Yiling and Zuyu proceed, Xioner observes them, contemplating that despite Yiling's seemingly battle-maniac persona, it's safer to stick with him. Later, unbeknownst to them, a monster from the trees is silently watching them. A rank 1, level 7, demonic ape suddenly leaps towards them. Yiling views this as a perfectly timed encounter. He orders Zuyu to counterattack, which she immediately complies with. With swift movements, Zuyu strikes the first ape, leaving the other one surprised. Xioner admires Zuyu, deeming her a strong and beautiful spiritual pet, and silently admits that Yiling is fortunate. Meanwhile, Yiling, smiling, instructs Zuyu to finish off the remaining ape. Agreeing, Zuyu engages in a ruthless attack against the demonic creature. The next morning, Yiling and Xioner examine the notification system, congratulating them. Finally, the trial is over, she exclaims joyfully. Xioner thanks Yiling, saying, "Without you, I might have failed the trial." However, Yiling, while stretching his body, dismisses her thanks. He reminds her that he aided her for the 100,000 federal credits, with an additional 5,000, and insists she must not forget. Xioner pouts, considering Yiling stubborn, yet assures him Xioner will always keep her promise, saying she'll repay him the following day. Yiling opens a portal, declaring the conclusion of the trial. He expresses his intent to leave the domain, explaining his need to prepare for the upcoming trial and expressing how exhausting it is. At the venue, various reactions are evident, some celebrating, others in despair. The trial tally displays 82 have passed, 403 have failed, and 75 have died. Teleporting to the venue, Yiling congratulates Chen Jai on passing the first stage of the trial, just as Chen Jai calls out to him. Chen Jai praises Yiling, acknowledging his lack of injuries, insinuating that Yiling must have run fast. However, he assures Yiling that failure is not a critical issue there, as long as one remains unharmed. Yet Yiling, with an air of arrogance, reveals his passing grade, apologizing for disappointing Chen Jai, a revelation that leaves Chen Jai surprised. They notice Mayor Linkong approaching, who congratulates all who passed the initial trial stage, instructing them to return, rest, and prepare for the second trial stage the next day. Another student suggests that the mayor probably came specifically to see Tian, the son of the Lai family, who's wearing an orange jacket. Tian greets Mayor Linkong respectfully. Mayor Linkong advises Tian to rest and prepare for the following day's trial, and asks him to extend his greetings to Tian's father, which Tian readily agrees to. The mayor then proceeds to Yiling, confirming his identity before advising him similarly to rest and prepare. Meanwhile, Chen Jai blushes, hiding behind Yiling. After bidding them farewell, Mayor Linkong departs. Chen Jai, puzzled, inquires whether Yiling knows the mayor personally, to which Yiling responds that he does not. He then turns his attention to Chen Jai, advising him to seek medical attention for his injuries. Adding that he himself is quite exhausted, Yiling excuses himself, making his departure. A bystander begins to wonder about Yiling's identity and how he managed to catch the mayor's attention. The stranger even teases Tian about his pet being a trashy zombie. Tian, riled up by the comment, begins to suspect that Yiling is not ordinary and resolves to discover his abilities during the second trial stage the next day. Well guys, that's the end of the video. If you like this video, comment part 2 in the comments section. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell and like the video. Thank you for watching and see you next time again.